Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for the drowned city of Skalla. This is the new 4-man dungeon made available by patch 4.1 in Final Fantasy XIV, The Legend Returns. If you haven't done this one yet, well, I've just gotta ask you, what are you waiting for? My name is Miss Tech and I'll be your dungeon guide. In this first section, tanks will need to watch for the spawning larvae out of each egg. Avoid the AoE attacks as you burn down each pack. The first boss is Kelpy. As soon as the encounter begins, you'll notice that the outer edge of the platform starts to flash. Eventually, this area will become unsafe and afflict players with dropsy and water resist down debuffs. Everyone will need to avoid standing in this area. Torpedo will do moderate tank damage. Cooldown and heal through this as necessary. Rising Seas will do group-wide AoE damage for healers to heal through. Eventually, Kelpy will jump to a side of the arena and cast either Hydro Pull or Hydro Push. As of patch 4.1, the names of these attacks seem to be the opposite of what you'd expect, and as such, players will need to be close to Kelpy during Hydro Pull, and on the opposite side during Hydro Push. Your goal is to avoid getting knocked outside of the platform. Bloody Puddle will mark up players with these circle telegraphs. Affected players can spread to avoid overlapping damage. Shortly after, water orbs will drop down on these players, leaving behind water pools that will debuff anyone standing in them and tether to their players. These orbs will follow the players and cast quick circle AoEs in their direction. Getting hit by this attack will deal damage and add a water vulnerability down stack. Affected players will need to kite these orbs around while dodging the other mechanics as well. All of these mechanics will repeat until the boss is down. In this section, you'll deal with a number of golem adds. You'll be able to pull quite a bit more trash than normal if you'd like. Just don't forget your cooldowns. The next boss is the old one. Mystic Light is a large frontal cone in the direction of a random player. Mystic Flame will throw out large AoE circle telegraphs under players. Dodge both of these attacks as necessary. Eventually, the boss will summon a number of tethered adds and order them to self-destruct. All players should destroy these as quickly as possible. When the boss moves to the center to the room to cast Shifting Light, all players will be turned into Spriggans and gain an action ability that drops an exploding rock underneath them. The boss will again spawn self-destructing adds, only this time players will use their Spriggan ability to drop rock bombs in the path of each add to destroy them. This ability can be spammed as much as necessary, so don't worry if your extrapolation abilities aren't that great. These mechanics will repeat with increased difficulty until the boss is down. In the next section, players will use these runes on the ground to traverse the gaps in between each trash pack. The mobs here cast some pretty big AoEs, so be careful. The last boss is Project Poison Tongue. This boss has some familiar attacks that aren't expressly telegraphed. If he raises his right arm, players will need to avoid the area in front of the boss. If he raises his tail, players will need to avoid the area behind him. When he crouches down and a proximity-based damage marker shows up underneath him, everyone will need to run out of melee range. Players can be marked by this large purple donut attack. The easiest way to handle this is to pick a spot, preferably near the boss, and stop moving to allow everyone else the opportunity to move into that safe area. Eye of the Fire is a fast-casting gaze attack that will confuse any player hit. As soon as you see this cast, be sure to face away from the boss. Players can also be marked up for this large cross-shaped attack or this circle AoE. Player with the cross-shaped attack can stand still, while the circle AoE player moves away from others. Everyone else will need to dodge these attacks as necessary. The boss can turn to face a random player and cast Words of Woe. Anytime this happens, players should move out of the way to dodge the attack. Getting hit by any of these attacks will place a stacking vulnerability up debuff on you. All players will need to keep their eyes open and dodge each attack as they come. These mechanics will repeat with increased difficulty and overlap until the boss is down. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.